Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we build business, create community, find freedom, and share success. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for the flagship video series of the week, the Tool Time Gear Review. And I have got a different product for you this week. I know it's going to be a surprise, but it's a yellow and black tool. But what's this strange thing coming off the bottom of it? This is definitely something I've never reviewed before. And as a matter of fact, I actually had one of our viewers and community members and a good friend of mine come by and lend me this to do a review on it. So hang in there and I'll be right back. Alright guys, real quick before we dive into the review, if you're new here, go by toolmantim.co. Check out everything there is to know about our community and who I am. Like me on all the different social media platforms, interact with us. If you have any video ideas, topics, whatever, review ideas, drop them in the comments below or send me a PM or whatever on social media. I would appreciate that, guys. And if you're looking for solutions to problems, products, anything, go over to toolmantim.shop where I've got over 100 Amazon links to products that I have tested personally in my handyman business. Stuff that has made me money or saved me money. Solutions to problems like paint spilled on vinyl siding or hanging pictures without drilling holes. Stuff that I really like and have worked well for me. And anything you buy through those links helps support the content that I create. So thanks guys, you know I always appreciate that. Alright guys, so this is definitely a different one. I have to say that I do believe that this is, this is the truth. This is the very first electric Dewalt tool that I have reviewed on this channel. You guys know that I am a die-hard yellow and black fan. I enjoy most of their products. Had a few issues with their hand tools, but I love the cordless battery stuff that they have out there. So when Rev, a friend of mine, a much better carpenter than I am, started talking about this, he said, you know what, buddy? He said, I'm going to bring it by and we're going to do a project together. You can test it out, do a review on it, and let people know what you think, because he personally absolutely loved it. And I thought, okay, well, let's give it a go. And if you guys follow me on social media, you know that I just recently upgraded my fuel storage program and I bought a used 100-gallon metal fuel slip tank. And you know, it wasn't in bad shape, but I wanted to strip the whole thing down and get a better feel for what was beneath the paint and get a better surface to prime and paint it. And I actually bought one first, real backtrack. I spent about 5-hour round trip taking a drive to pick one up for dirt cheap. I give it a quick inspection on the place, started sanding it down when I got home, and I found a whole bunch of pinholes in the bottom. The guy said it was good. Maybe it was. I have a feeling it was from sitting on gravel, so had to find a new one. So I got this new one, but the first one I started using a cup brush on a wire cup brush on a grinder, and those flap discs, you know, they also fit on a grinder. Flap discs work great, but they wear out quick. The wire brushes will work all day long, but are slower than going uphill in the wintertime twice with molasses or something like, anyway. Yeah, they are slow. And they do an okay job, but all the time I probably spent 2 or 3 hours with the grinder on that old tank and only maybe made it a third the way through. Rev and I spent an hour in the nearly hottest day of the year with this guy right here. It's an incredible, it looks like a drill with a sander attachment on it, but it really does the trick. I was impressed with how well it worked. I'm going to tell you, make sure you have a really good supply of sandpaper on hand, because you can push hard on this and get going with it, but it'll bog down if you push too hard. The way this works best is to let the speed, it has a variable speed trigger on it as well, and you can go lower, but honestly, it seems to be the absolute best way to do it is to let it go full tilt with moderate pressure and a good aggressive grit of sandpaper. And it did an incredible job. As you guys will see some of the footage, I got a little bit here, probably pop it up around here somewhere to show you how well it really worked. All right, so this guy here, see if I can find you the model number. I know I wrote it down somewhere, but I'm going to read it to you. DWE6401DS. It has 4.7 stars out of how many reviews? 600 reviews on Amazon. It's well under $100 US and just over $100 Canadian on either Amazon. You can order replacement rubber pads, 4-pack for about 40 bucks. So they're not super expensive, but the thing does what it says it will do. We never put any chunks out of the rubber at all, and we were pretty aggressive with it. It takes 8-hole, 5-inch standard hook and loop sandpaper, and you can even get an attachment for it that'll hook up to a shop vac or dust extractor. In our instance, we didn't. We just did the redneck thing where one guy sanded it and the other guy stood over his shoulder with a battery-powered Dewalt blower. It worked more than sufficient for what we were doing. You guys know I always work my way through the Amazon comments and reviews on these products to see what other people thought of it. And I think the best comment I found in all the Amazon reviews was the guy said that he thinks this would literally skin a grizzly bear in under a minute if you let it do its work. And I don't know about a grizzly bear, but I think it really would if you put it to town. Like, this thing has a ton of stripping power built into it. What I like about this is the handle. So I tend to grind and sand southpaw, and if I do it the other way, my hands just get fatigued really quick. So it's completely changeable, just like a grinder, so you can go right to left. And what I love about it is, over the typical orbital sander, you know, you kind of hold it like this and hold down like this, and it's really hard on the hands. It vibrates, it bothers you. Well, with this, you've got 2 hands, and you just let it do its work. It has a lot of orbitalness to it. Like, it really wants to pull you if you're not careful. But if you get it in and you're on just a little bit of an angle like a grinder, it does the best job you can find, and it doesn't really want to pull you. But be careful getting up around sharp edges, like when we were sanding up around like the carry handles on these slip tanks. It'll chew up your sandpaper in less than a second flat. So my buddy Rev picked this up to redo the clapboard siding on his house. And ever since he picked it up, he absolutely raved about how much he liked this product. And I thought, okay, no problem. And you know, there's other options. Of course, the orbital sander, which is slow and hard on the hands, and a belt sander, which is aggressive and super heavy. But this kind of was in the middle. It had more power than an orbital sander, but of course, it's way lighter and safer to use than a belt sander for that instance. And he's had great luck using an aggressive grit, going along and resanding to refinish his siding. So yeah, this thing right now, like I said, it just made the chore of sanding something that I don't love to do anyway. And I know there's better, higher end products out on the market, but if you're looking for something that's really reasonably priced, that'll absolutely work well to take a lot of material off really quick, it's designed to be less fatiguing in the hand and using it, this is the way to go. And you guys know, I love my cordless stuff, but there's absolutely still a place for corded products on the market. And this is one of those instances where it really is. I love my grinder, it worked good, but for stripping paint off of metal, this is the way to go. So whatever project you're working on, make sure you have a lot of sanding discs on hand, because the fact that this sucker just flies and chews up the paint and the rust and all the old junk, you're going to go through a lot of sanding discs. We used 80 to pull all that old kind of loose, flaky, gross paint off there. And then we switched over to, I think it was 100 or 120 just to give it a quick finish, which was really good. But in this instance, just have lots of discs, and they're cheap. Just have a bunch on hand, and you can do a lot of work really, really quick. You know, if I had an overhead dust collector system or something, I'd probably hook into that. But for what we did, the old redneck version with the battery powered worked really well. So what do you guys use when you need to do some heavy duty paint removal? This thing worked really well for me. I know there's a ton of other products out there that work. Let me know what your recommendation is, or your go-to product is for stripping paint, heavy duty sanding. I know Joseph will have something to say about this. Absolutely. And I love hearing recommendations from all you guys, because it gives me something else to test out. But I want to say thanks to Rev for bringing this by, letting us play with his toys for an afternoon, and getting to do a really good review on it. I love trying out new tools, especially when I can try out a new tool and I don't necessarily have to buy it right away. I can say, hey, do I like this? Don't like it? And in this instance, 2 thumbs up, man. I really liked it. So thanks, Rev. Thanks for bringing it by. Drop me a line, guys, in the comments of other recommendations you have of stuff like this. And if you're new here and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, just take a minute, hit that button, and stick around, become part of our community, because I love talking about tools. I love taking the time to share my knowledge with you guys. So thank you very much. Thanks for dropping by and hanging out with me in the workshop this week. We'll see you on Saturday for the weekend workshop. And do not forget, Sunday nights we have Talking Tools live stream every Sunday night at 8 o'clock Mountain Time, where I talk about tools. We interact as a community. So thanks, guys, and as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.